Blairmore Holdings in the Bahamas, Close International in Jersey, and tonight Channel 4 News can reveal a third fund, PMG Eagle, all set up in tax havens, all linked to the Prime Minister's father, Ian Cameron. These documents reveal that Ian Cameron owned 5,000 shares in the PMG Eagle Fund based in Jersey. It operated between 1996 and 2002. We also found two other funds with exactly the same name based in the Cayman Islands and the Bahamas. But because of fierce secrecy laws in both of those locations, it's impossible to tell who is involved in them. Today's headlines make tough reading for the Prime Minister. Yesterday, he finally admitted that he had invested in one offshore fund set up by his father. But questions still remain.
And I did. Samantha and I had a joint account and we owned 5,000 units in Blairmore Investment Trust, which we sold in January 2010. That was worth something like £30,000.
A careful explanation of what happened to his holding in this one offshore fund. But by his own admission, this son of a stockbroker has held various investments over the years.
Of course, I did own stocks and shares in the past.
So were any of these other investments offshore, or was Blairmore the only one?
Say hello to Mum and Dad.
David Cameron descends from a long line of financiers. His great-grandfather, his grandfather and his father were all city stockbrokers. Ian Cameron was quick to take advantage of the offshore boom when capital controls changed in 1979. Earlier this week, Channel 4 News revealed that Ian Cameron owned 6,000 shares in another fund based in Jersey. So did the Prime Minister ever own or benefit from a shareholding in this fund or the PMG Eagle Fund? In April 2015, Channel 4 News went to Jersey and discovered for the first time that David Cameron's father left a legacy offshore. This courthouse behind me here in St Helier, we found this. It's a document called a grant of probate, and it's attached to the English will of none other than Ian Cameron, David Cameron's father. When he died, these assets passed on to his family. David Cameron inherited £300,000 from his father. When asked about the source of the money yesterday, the Prime Minister said,
I obviously can't, point to every source of every bit of the money. And
last year, a spokesman for David Cameron told us,
like all Ian Cameron's estate, this was subsequently included in his UK inheritance tax return.
This is what one of those returns looks like. And here is a box which specifically asks for the total of any assets held outside of the UK. So the question is, has David Cameron seen his father's inheritance tax return?
so I'll continue to make the case for transparency with international partners.
It's because the Conservative leader has travelled the world preaching openness that pressure has steadily mounted on him to answer questions. Questions that Channel 4 News has been asking for a year. When we first approached Downing Street about this story last year, they told us,
any suggestion that David Cameron has in any way taken measures to avoid paying tax in the UK are completely false.
Yet how does this tally with what the fund David Cameron invested in says about its own tax affairs? In the 2006 Blairmore prospectus, it says, the directors intend that the affairs of the fund should be managed and conducted so that it does not become resident in the United Kingdom for United Kingdom taxation purposes. So does David Cameron's investment in such a fund live up to the same moral standards he champions? We've put all these questions to Downing Street. We've asked if Mr. Cameron invested any money into this newly discovered offshore fund, PMG Eagle. So far, there has been no response.